to the Fighting Couch Potatoes. I'm Gaddafi Crush. I'm joined by Liquid Gold Steve.
It's not that scary. It's not that scary.
It's spooky season with the Fighting Couch Potatoes, and this is our second annual Halloween episode. Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about a creepy little game by the name of Yomawari Midnight Shadows.
Yomawari Midnight Shadows is the second game in a little series called Yomawari. First game is Night Alone, and the third game is Yomawari Lost in the Dark. How this game starts out is a young girl named Yui, little red bow on top of her head, little school uniform. She just writes in her journal, it says, "My dog has died. My father's died. My mom is neglecting me. And my best friend's about to move after the summer vacation." So she's not really having a great time. And this is just the beginning of the game. So they put you in a tutorial as her to show you how to pick up items, how to run, can't jump. You can use a flashlight, but that's later on. And yeah, move objects and pick up items and run. Because you're going to do a lot of that in this game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of monsters in this game. Not no little monsters. Giant, scary hand monsters and murdering women that jump out of hotels and try to splat on you one shot.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in this tutorial and you just buried your dog. One out of the two dogs. And you are on this mountain that is a mountain that has spirits on it. And you're not supposed to listen to these spirits. Well, Yui has listened to these spirits. And she is walking further and further into the forest. You're learning as you're going how to do things. And there's a little makeshift bridge. You walk over it and there's a rock that you pick up. So you throw the rock to the other side of the bridge to make your other dog follow over, and the makeshift bridge falls over. So I'm like, okay, something's not right here. She shouldn't be making her dog walk away or run away the other way into the mountain. She gets further there and I see a rope on a tree. And I'm like, oh, so she's going to do Bridge of Terabithia or some George of the Jungle bullshit. She's going to be jumping on some crazy shit. Because you see a box and it says move the box closer to the rope. So the rope isn't made. It looks like a George of the Jungle rope, like you're going to swing on a vine. You pick up the box and you get closer to the rope and it turns into a noose. I'm going to say this right now. I've never played a game that made a 10-year-old hang themselves. But that's what you start out with in Yomawari. It's all downhill from here. There's no happy endings. There's a little bit of a happy ending, but it's not the greatest happy ending ever. Gaddafi, can you recount what you saw after Yui
Did the deed?
Kicked the box?
Well, after Yui decided to try to Peter Pan her way out, try to return to Neverland and all, you get to take control of Haru. And you're getting to take control of Haru when she's going up to go meet Yui for the fireworks.
Her best friend.
Yui and Haru are the besties. Haru's the one who's getting ready to move.
They got friendship bracelets and everything
that. Absolutely. They're the closest. Well, they go take a look at the fireworks. They talk to each other about how they wish they could be together forever. And that Haru was going to try to write Yui every day or as often as she possibly can to try to keep their friendship alive. Seems like a pretty good beginning to the game, I think. You wind up trying to go back home from the mountain after watching the fireworks, and Yui and Haru get separated. When they get separated, this is when the actual game starts. Haru has to look for Yui while with just a flashlight and very little guidance while there are spirits chasing after her down this mountain. For Haru, it was like a sudden change of events. 1 minute, me and Yui are kicking it, watching fireworks, and we're saying our goodbyes and blah blah blah, and then boom, you're just thrown right into this terrifying visual of being on a gorgeous mountain in the middle of the night, no moonlight, no starlight, just you and a flashlight. It has a really good way of isolating you when you first start this game, because even the music helps to isolate you. There's hardly any. You can hear the wind blowing, you can hear leaves rustling, you can hear your footsteps. You don't get to hear Haru breathing or speaking or anything of that nature. But you're stuck playing as a defenseless little girl with murderous spirits after her. This is essentially the beginning of Yomawari, and essentially what your gameplay might even look like for the most part.
So, before you take complete control of Haru, you take control of Yui. And she hears voices in her head or in the wind saying, "Come here. Come here. We need to talk to you." And she tells Haru to chill in the bush, hide in the bush, which is a mechanic that you're going to do a lot in this game.
Right.
And she's going to check it out with her flashlight. So Yui goes to an isolated area, and she's checking her journal for the map or something, and then you get your first big jump scare. That's like the really biggest jump scare that you get in this game. This game's more of like a creepy atmosphere, feeling like you have nothing. Like you don't have a gun. You're a 10-year-old kid. Can't do nothing. Can't fight these spirits. You're not Yusuke. You're not.
You don't have a spirit gun.
You don't have a spirit gun. You're pretty much flashlight and hiding. But Yui gets attacked and she disappears. Well, that's when you transfer to Haru and you're trying to get off this mountain when spirits are running after you. All she sees is a flashlight and Yui's journal.
Right.
And you're going down this mountain. You're getting chased. You meet you get to see what your save game or your save points are, which are Juzo statues, which I'm guessing in Japanese lore are like a good fortune or at least a prayer, like a praying statue.
I think it's like a praying statue.
So, and you have to offer it a coin every time you owe like 10 yen, and then you save your game. Once you get off the mountain, Haru gets chased by, I want to call him Scissor Man. He pretty much is like one of your big antagonists through the game. He chases you like 4 or 5 times throughout the game, but this is your really big first one. You're running through this bridge, and you finally get to like a hiding spot, a stop sign, which is crazy to me that you can just hide behind it. The stop sign's like, I don't see him. But you get to Yui's house, and you're like, well, Yui's not here. Maybe she got scared and ran somewhere else. So I'm going to leave her a letter. Haru goes back to her house, and this is how the game really starts. Every night, you're looking for more bits and pieces of why Yui, or where is Yui.
Right. Why she's missing all of a sudden, and where's she at?
You check, there's a whole, it's not a giant map, but it's a really decent-sized map for how big the characters are.
Yeah, it's a pretty good, like it's almost an intimidating sized map once you realize there's zero combat and there's going to be shit everywhere to get you. Once you realize that and how slow these girls walk, that map's huge.
It's not too bad, though. Like, I wouldn't say it's like the worst thing in the world.
No,
like,
it's not bad at all, but it certainly creates the ambiance.
When you start every night, you get to, like, it's like your safe house. You're in Haru's house. And she has tokens or charms. That you could have. And some charms are you can run a little faster. Some charms are you can carry a little bit more money. Because you can only really carry 10 coins on yourself. 10 coins, 10 airplanes, 10 rocks. But
10 trash bags, 10 fireflies.
Yeah, you can carry 10 of everything, but that's it. But you get charms, you get to make sure what you want to have before the night begins. Because as soon as you leave that house, it's your ass. It's whatever you want to do that night.
One of my favorite things about Yomawari that actually brought me to this was the graphics, was the game design itself. As we're sitting here describing and talking about it, I'm sure most of you probably imagined some type of 3DS game, maybe something that looked a little bit like Resident Evil or Silent Hill or something like that. In turn, what you get is something really cute. You almost get chibi style characters where they have really big heads, really big eyes, and itty bitty bodies. On top of that, the graphics are extremely detailed, even though you don't interact with most of the backgrounds. The way the backgrounds are set up, you're looking down at an isometric sort of view with a slight tilt to it. The colors are very vibrant. It's a very bright and sinisterly dark game at the same time. When there's light, there's plenty of detail to see. When there's not so much light, it's dark and can be overwhelming to some people. Going through the map and going through the town that you're in, it feels a lot like you're going through a puzzle or like a maze. And because of the fact that you can't touch ghosts, because if you touch the ghosts, they'll kill you. So your idea is to run away and collect items. There's always small little collectible items around. I'm not 100% sure what they all do, but some items are usable, some items are charms, and others are just seem to be part of your collection for one reason or another. Some of the items give you lore and story to go along with it, like there's letters and there's pieces of toys or action figures or dolls or somebody's old teeth. It all has a little bit of story to go along with it. The reason why I'm bringing up how the game looks and how it kind of plays is once you calm down and get past the fear of this game, you kind of sort of get Pac-Man vibes.
I don't see that, but if you feel you
don't see that,
no.
Let me try.
I mostly see like okay with the asymmetrical view, and it's not like purely asymmetrical. You're like above them. It kind of feels like it's like a big triangle, like a big pyramid. Like you're coming down every time. You're never like when you're going up the map, you're going up the map. When you're going down the map, you're kind of going down the map. That's my thing. I wanted to add the collection. Like she picks up some random shit.
Oh yeah.
Haru is like the collector, like a hoarding collector. But the creepy part of it is you pick up like toys of kids that like it's like a blown out balloon.
Yep.
A ripped doll.
Ripped up whoopee cushion.
And it's like, and you read it and it says there's like some say that it has blood on it, and it's like what happened to the kid that there's a toy here and then there's nothing.
Right, and just a little bit of blood.
There's a great mechanic in this game of the flashlight. The flashlight is like one of the best mechanics. The second best. I love the heartbeat. Heartbeat mechanic, but I'll bring that up in a second. Flashlight mechanic. You sometimes have to turn off your flashlight. Sometimes you have to have your flashlight on to see some of the enemies. Some of the enemies will make the other mechanic is that your heartbeat tells you, it kind of gives you a cue that there's something around.
Right, something nearby.
And if you don't have your flashlight on, some of the spirits you can definitely see. There's like tire tracks where there's a pretty much, you get isekai by truck goons, it's burning tire.
Yep.
There's some monsters or spirits that you need to have your flashlight on to even see. And sometimes if you stare at them with the flashlight, you piss them off to make them chase after you.
Yep.
So, and there's also one that's a baby. Well, acts like a child. It plays red light, green light with you.
It's peekaboo.
Peekaboo. If you don't have the flashlight on him, he'll come after you. If you have the flashlight on, he's pretty much playing peekaboo with you.
It almost acts like the ghosts in Mario. Like the Boo Ghost, if you're looking at them, they'll cover their eyes. But if you turn your back, they're after your ass. Almost like that.
It just the sounds alone in this little game. That's like what, 10 chapters?
Something like that. About 10 chapters long.
It's never mind numbing. Like it's always the same sound for every monster that you go after. But
as far as your heartbeat is
the
concerned.
creepiness of like having the children ghosts,
Mhm.
the women that jump out the building.
Yep.
The
The little can't breathe fellas that are always after you, the ones that are invisible. I don't know what they're called, but they're like they have really big heads and they're really like lollipop bodies.
Yes,
and they breathe like they don't have a nose.
The creepiest one to me, and this like he only showed up like twice maybe in the game, was the red guy that was sitting in the corner.
Yeah,
that guy creeped me the fuck out.
He don't do shit to you.
It just like you stare at him and he disappears. But while you're there, it's just he seems like he's the most it seems like he's the most malevolent spirit. Like to me, he seems like something that if you get too close, he's gonna stab your fucking eyes out and then rip your heart out.
Yeah, and then beat you with it, and then bring you back to life so he can do it again.
The funniest ghost, and we already talked about her, is the one that Kobe's you. The one that like comes out the building and like if you don't die from her, she lands on her back and she's like,
Are you talking about like when you walking past like the tall buildings and that woman screams and flops out the window or something?
Oh no, she's like getting the 3-pointer ready to like slap right on top of you. And I don't know if you died from her, but I've only died once from her, which was hilarious to see. Because like you heard the scream, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get out the way, and then just completely
landed right on top of your shit.
Because just imagine she broke her back every time that I never got splatted, and just imagine you turned into an accordion when she fucking hit you.
Oh yeah. Like that's one of the things I like about this game is that your death scenes are very. They let you know it was gruesome, but you don't get to see gruesome things happen to the character.
Yeah, it's. I don't think this game is made to be like a Dead Space,
right,
or like a Resident Evil,
like all for the shock factor,
or even like Silent Hill. Because Silent Hill has some gory death scenes too.
Yeah,
but it's more of the what happened, like kind of like Last of Us. Like you see with the bloater, like he ripping Joel's face, right, and then right before your face completely takes a shit, it cuts black. Right. So
even that is much more brutal than what you get. Like what you get here is your character will touch one of the ghosts and blood splatter will come across the screen. Depending on what ghost killed you, depends on what type of blood splatter and what type of sound effects come from your death.
A lot of crunchiness.
A lot of crunching going on there.
But getting back to the story, pretty much what you're doing as Haru is a fetch quest.
Yeah.
You're fetching Yui. And throughout the nights, the first night, you try to find Yui in town. Like little town they give you. And they kind of, periodically through the game, they have like stopping points.
Roadblocks or...
Yeah. You can't go this far because there's a little bit more into the next chapter with this part.
Right. Or something like a there's always that giant ghost eye thing that's in the middle of the street. And you don't even see that thing unless you have the flashlight on. There are multiple times I've walked dead into it, not paying attention where I was going, and just oh shit, what killed me?
It murdered you. But yeah, some of the parts of the town is cut off for like chapter 1, 2, and 3. And like it just keeps on gradually opening up, which makes it a bigger map, which makes you want to explore it more. But I'm a scary little bitch, and I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, it always makes you decide: do you want to take the risk and get something cool, or you want to just go on about the mission?
I don't know if it's really like cool because most of the time, like I said, Haru is just a hoarding collectionist. Like,
yeah,
she just wants to collect things just to collect them.
It's about that collectathon, man.
Dude, yeah, you can have that in every game. But when you're just hoarding a whoopee cushion,
a broken whoopee cushion,
it's just a broken whoopee cushion. Yeah. There's
pieces and parts to some shit you don't know what it is, puzzle pieces.
The robot later in the game is perfectly fine because there's a reason for it.
Yeah, he helps you out.
There's a reason for that.
Voltron comes through, man.
But not just the notes, I'll give it. But I don't know, just some of the toys is weird, but it's like kind of gives you the creepy vibe of
what else is going on in this little town?
Shit's going down. I think like the third night, which is the third chapter, you meet Yui's other dog, Chaco.
Chaco. I'm not
sure. I want to call him Chico so bad, but it's Chaco.
Chico Bean.
But it's you meet her Pomeranian, Chaco, and throughout the game, I don't know if this dog is really alive. He might be.
He pops up in random locations, and you can't ever seem to catch up to him, but he's always leading you somewhere.
So yeah, he's leading you somewhere, and he opens up some of the gates, some of the parts that you can't open, to lead you to creepier places, like the library. The library was an absolute fucking just, ugh.
You think that library was bad? I'll tell you what, that motherfucking factory, I didn't think I was ever getting out of that shit. That factory was tough as nails to get through. At least for me, because, again, scary game, punk-ass bitch.
Equals scared.
Yeah, terrifying game. Hard to get through.
Yeah, I like how further on, it started out like a basic game, and then you kind of get, it makes it more complex. Absolutely, there's a gradual difficulty spike.
Yeah.
Which is awesome for a game. It just doesn't like set you to this place. Like it's always going to be fucking hard or it's always going to be fucking easy. It's like gradually we're going to take the brakes off the fucking scary shit and make you fucking.
They start mixing and matching monster types and shit or ghost types.
In the library, meeting the scissor man again. And you have to think and learn what to defeat these monsters with.
Yeah.
Which for the scissor man is pretty much make him run into glass until he fucking finds one fossil.
Yep.
And it's like, all right, I'm gonna stop fucking with you.
I'm gonna quit messing with you. Don't worry about it. The scissor man is by far one of the scariest aspects of the game because he shows up like on his shit. That motherfucker is on 12 and a half every time you see him. And he's got these gigantic gardening scissors. His name is Mr. Yomawari. Mr. Yomawari plays a very important role in this town where it has something to do with resentment, but I don't quite understand fully like what his role with resentment is. But his other role that I do completely understand is when children leave their houses at night when they're not supposed to be out, Mr. Yomawari snatches them up. Mm-hmm. And this is essentially why you're always being fucked with by Mr. Yomawari on these nights.
Is it just like, and he doesn't care what reason, no nothing.
Yeah, you shouldn't be the fuck out at night. What's wrong with you?
That's kind of,
it's his rule.
It's not creepy to learn that, but it's still scary because he's the scissor man that's gonna fucking chop you into pieces.
Yeah, I mean, he snatches you up and then does what he does with it after that. You know, I mean, that probably explains a lot of those busted ass toys around. You know, a flattened balloon, a broken whoopee cushion, a car that's broken in half, a teddy bear arm. Something with some giant scissors might maybe have blitzed the child who wasn't supposed to be out at night.
But we're going to get to my favorite level. Like, honestly, it's honestly my favorite level is the house with the creepy, oak statue.
The little mansion.
Yeah. Where you got to fight all the, like, it's pretty much you're fighting furniture.
Yeah.
The picture frames kind of reminded me of Legend of Zelda. Link to the Past.
Some of the little tiles that come flying at you.
This thing reminded me completely of it. Throughout the game, in the storyline, you play Haru as the main character, but Yui's always there. She's always there before you do anything with Haru. Like with the library, or...
It's like in between chapters. When you finish playing with Haru, you get a very small moment of Yui, where you get to play with Yui until she gets snatched up again. Usually by Mr. Yomawari.
Pretty much. I really liked how you fought the boss in the mansion, the whole layout of the mansion, and pretty much how you got to kill the boss. It was pretty much friendly fire.
Yeah.
And like, how did Haru get out of this and not have just being a psych ward? How the fuck did that not happen?
That kid was special. That kid was just like, you know what? My best friend, damn it. We came together. We're leaving together.
We got bestie bracelets, bitches.
That's it, motherfucker. I mean, you gotta appreciate a good, like, Steve, you're a pretty good friend of mine. But if you went missing, and when I went looking for you, ghosts and spirits started
leave me alone.
Bruh, I'm like not even getting off my porch. I'm like, ooh, fuck you.
Just remember that when I start haunting your punk ass.
You ain't gonna haunt me.
You better have some salt, bitch.
Plenty of it. Kosher and regular. Himalayan.
I almost forgot. I think this is I think this is in the library. This is the boss battle prior, and this is my favorite boss battle. Is you're pretty much fighting yourself as Haru with the mirror images, which was awesome.
That was pretty kick ass.
Like even like there was notes and there was signs that don't have the flashlight on the mirror. If you have a mirror and you have the flashlight on, you can have the evil spirits come out. Yep. And it was you fighting yourself, so you had to fight all the mirror selves, your mirror selves, 4 of them, and when you turn off the lights, somebody helps you. It's your bestie, but you don't get to see her.
Right.
You think the whole time Haru's walking around the city, she thinks Yui's still alive.
Yui still thinks Yui is alive. That's the other side of it. Now, if we're going to talk about favorite stages and favorite missions and favorite bosses, then fucking sewers. The sewers going up to the dam, that was much worse than the factory as far as a creep factor. It was much creepier. You're in a sewer, a stank-ass sewer, walking across all these beams and rafters, following behind rats. These rats are kind of telling you where to go and how to go. And should you diverge off those paths, you usually walk into a dead end with some fuck shit. Usually. In this place, in this sewer, most of the creatures are invisible. They have these big, I call them rubber band guys, but they're these really big, black, tall, red, tentacle-y monsters that just kind of, they're invisible until you put a flashlight to them. And you can hear what sounds like rubber bands stretching every time they walk. They're pretty fucking creepy. You have a ton of rats in the building. There are a combination of most of the monsters, most of the spirits you've already seen out and about, like babies or the big-headed guy, the feller with the big old machete that walks back and forth. You got to pay him $1 to keep him from killing you.
Oh, yeah.
Those are out there. And you get a couple newer ones. You get these really big, bloated, red and black spirits. They just take up a space in the room. They're so big, it's like, how can you miss them? But they're invisible until you're like 2 steps from them. Yeah.
Fuck all that.
They just sit still, but they're just invisible until you're that close to them. This particular stage was really, really long getting through it, at least for me, because I kept dying, kept walking into shit. The boss battle in this stage was super cool. I don't know what you would call it, but it reminded me of Wolnir from Dark Souls 3. The skeleton man with just the arms and the bracelets. Mm-hmm. It was a skeleton head with big-ass arms. And what it was a combination of a bunch of rats that had become a spirit, and they became this spirit. And this thing is trying to crush you and stomp you and kill you. Meanwhile, Chaco. I'm going to go with Chaco. You go with Chaco. I'm going to go with Chaco. Right.
Chava. Change the V to a C. Chaco.
I'm gonna go with Chaco.
He's not a chocolate.
No, he's not a chocolate. I'm gonna go with Chaco. It's probably is Chaco, but I'm gonna go with Chaco. Chaco is here to save you. Chaco has been helping you out throughout the whole game in small little ways, but this is where Chaco starts to become more involved.
Yeah.
You actually get to see Chaco run off some giant rats from you that are trying to get you. The rats were leading you to their trap, is what was going on. The rats were trying to guide you to them so they could kill you and eat you. Once you start getting towards them, you see a bunch of dead crows laying around, and then you finally see a gathering of rats chewing up on a crow. When you're fighting Volnir, as I keep calling him, the big giant skeleton head with the arms, when you're fighting him, there's a certain point you can get to when you run past him where Chaco comes out and runs him off, scares him right off. You and Chaco start walking through and getting towards the mountain trail because what you've done essentially from the sewers, if you went up the sewers or you went into the sewers, across to the next town, up over a dam, and now you have to walk across the dam to get back to your side of town where your mountain is at. Once you start making your way back to the mountain pass, the rats come back. And then here comes the big giant head thing. Chaco tries to scare it off, and it seems to be about to be a big boss fight. Haru says, "Stop, wait. I'm not afraid anymore. I know what's going on here." There was a dead rat, looked like a pretty big rat that was there, and all of his little rat friends were gathered around it. They weren't eating it, they were just gathered around it. She figured that this spirit needed some respect on his name. So she buried a rat and put up a nice little grave marker, gave him a cool little prayer, and there goes Walmir. He's gone. That's the reason why I like this boss battles, because it's not just like, what the fuck? She's starting to grow, she's starting to understand, and Chaco is starting to get more brave. It's starting to actually help engage against a lot of these battles.
This is beforehand you go to the town. This is before. This is like after having the robot going on the train, going to the dam, in the town.
Then you have to make your way down the mountain pass to get to the town, which leads you to another boss battle.
But I thought the how'd you get to the town or the nearby town was because you were trying to find Yui. You finally put two and two together that Yui can't see Haru because Yui's dead.
This is what brings you there.
And then
so before all the sewer objective and whatnot, you actually get to a spot where you find where Yui is supposed to be at. The dog Chaco brings you to Yui. Yui sees you and is like, "Oh shit, it's Haru. Hey, what's up, Haru? Hey, Haru, you can't hear me. Haru, why can't you see me?
Chaco,
am I dead? Shit, I might be dead. When the fuck did I die? How long have I been like this? I'm gonna leave Haru a letter." And this should make things clear for her. She leaves her a letter. Haru gets taken away. Something happened to Haru.
Yeah, something takes her away.
Something takes Haru away where she never gets a chance to read the letter. So on the way back from the sewer up the dam and over to the mountain pass, she demands to go see Yui's letter.
Yeah.
She sees and reads Yui's letter where Yui explains she's dead. She's pretty sure she's dead. And she doesn't know how she got dead. She doesn't know how she died. But she's going to go figure it out. She's going up to the mountain to figure it out. At which time, essentially, you're kind of barred from going up the mountain the normal way. There's spirits and all in the way. So once you take this mountain pass, all the way around, blah, 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 the sewer, and get back to the letter, it starts to trigger another situation between you and Mr. Yomawari. Whereas Mr. Yomawari is kind of chasing you through the mountain pass as you're trying to get where you're going to see Yui. You wind up taking all sorts of twists and turns, and you wind up like at the bottom of the dam. because the dam is now dried up, or the lake is now dried up. You wind up down there. I think this is actually before you get to the letter. Now that I'm thinking about it, because you're at the dam, going across the lake, going across the dry lake. You wind up dealing with Mr. Yomawari again. And in this instance, there's a lot of other mechanics at play here, because you're not just running from him like normal. You have to hide, play a little bit of hide and seek, and it shows that he is actually destroying other spirits that are in your way. He's destroying them not so much for you, but to get them out of his fucking. At one part, Chaco comes in to save the day. He starts barking at Mr. Yomawari, and there's like a bush or something to hide behind. I died 900 times at this one spot because I couldn't figure out how Mr. Yomawari was getting my ass. It wouldn't let me hide in the bushes or behind the signs or in the car, whatever the hiding spot that there was there, it wouldn't let me hide. And Mr. Yomawari would go attack. He wouldn't touch me, but I'd die. The screen would show my death, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? Why do I keep dying? He wasn't killing me. He was killing Chaco. So what you have to do is you actually have to stop Chaco from popping shit at Mr. Yomawari, snatch him up, and then go hide in the bushes with him. This is where Chaco, like I said, this is like around the time where Chaco starts to become a little more important versus just a guide dog for you. Besides just your seeing eye ghost dog.
I see ghosts.
And what's funny, Haru never called him by his name. She always called him Doggy.
Or Yui's dog.
No, she called him Doggy. Like when she would see Doggy, that's how she would greet him. She would never go, oh, Chaco, until the very end of the game. It's the only time she ever called him by his name. It's almost like she wasn't familiar with the dog or didn't like the dog or something.
Maybe it was more unfamiliar. She didn't seem like she wanted to kick the dog.
No, she didn't want to kick the dog, but it wasn't her dog, and she wasn't really sure what the dog thought it could see and what it could do or whatever.
So is this when Haru has the tutorial?
No, that's after all of this. You actually get another moment with Yui where she has to go through the realization that she is dead. She has to go through that whole realization. It's a very small chapter in the game, but there's a lot of story involved in it. And I don't really want to spoil all of it, but it's where she starts to realize everything. Like, oh shit, I'm dead, and this is why I'm dead. And I'll go ahead and start to spoil a smidgen of that. We talked about Malice earlier. Malice he looks like a spider, but his body is made of hands and eyeballs. He's so creepy looking. But he's just hands on top of hands on top of hands on top of hands with arms that are made of hands and hands that are made of hands. Stay with me. Malice is the cause of all of the spirits chasing after Haru. Malice took over Yui's mind when Yui was going through all of that dark depression. It was perfect time, perfect chance to influence a young girl to doing some stupid shit. And he influenced her to kill herself so he could have control of her body and of her spirit. With control of her body and spirit, he's able to will her almost back into existence and allow her to drag Haru towards him as well. So he's using a child to kidnap another child. Because Haru isn't dark and depressed and down in the dumps like Yui is, but if he can get Haru into his clutches, it's all over. He can have a hold of her and possibly even use her to get more and more people. Malice is based off of a Japanese yokai. It's like a big old spider. And the idea of him is he has these tricky webs that you can't necessarily see, but by the time you realize you're stuck in his webs, it's way too fucking late. You're in the web and you're done. Doesn't always pick on kids, doesn't always pick on adults, picks on whoever the fuck shows up. Like a trapdoor spider. Spiders are scary. I don't know why people always use spiders. Probably because spiders are scary. Yeah, probably why. So Basically, we're getting towards the end of Yomawari. And again, this isn't the spot that I really want to spoil all the details over. This is more so the spot where I kind of want to sit back and look at the game and see like what it meant to me and what the creators, Nippon Ichi Software, anybody who's familiar with them knows they make fucking kick ass games. Just to kind of see what their goal was with this game in particular, maybe even just the series. At the end of the game, you get Haru and Yui's final conclusions. Yui is dead. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You get Haru's final conclusion, Chako's final conclusion. You get to find out exactly what happened to everybody, what's coming forward for them. If anything good or bad or anything like that. Steve, before I get into my theories about what this game was probably trying to say and tell, I want to ask you something first. Playing it, what did it make you feel? How did it make you feel other than thrilled or scary or creeped out?
How this game made me feel? Well, scared and creeped out. And I gotta say, how the game played out, I didn't think it was gonna end like that. I'm happy and sad that it was the storybook ending. They kind of like crossed the T's and dot the I's. They made sure everything was at least finished. They didn't like keep anything open. I don't know about the third game. I'm just gonna say in the second game, they kind of bookended everything for the characters of the game to have a somewhat happy ending. At least Yui is a spirit that is rested. Haru has a new dog. And she's still living, she's living a better life with one less appendage. This game, I don't usually play a lot of scary games. I'm a little scaredy bitch like Godolphin. Most of the time I'll play like an action adventure, but this game wasn't purely like a jump scare scary. It didn't want to make me like jump out of my seat. It was more of, let's put an ambiance and an atmosphere that will creep you the fuck out until something does make you have a jump scare. It's like a really slow burn of a really excellent way of doing horror. Like, you're not always just every 15 minutes, we gotta have a jump scare. No, you can have a very thrilling slow burn of either finding out that you're dead, finding out that you're dead. Well, I had a really good thing, but I just really fucking blanked on that. Continuing on, we'll cut that. But just having a horror game that just isn't jump scare to me it makes me like those games more than just having blood and gore and a bunch of jump scares. I hate jump scares. I think they're the worst kind of like trope of a horror movie. I'd rather take a slow burn that at the very end of the 15, 20 minutes of the movie, video game, whatever, everything clicks together like a fucking puzzle piece and spooks you the hell out. So Yomawari checked all those boxes. I would say the game is a wonderful game to play at night. Perfect time to play in Halloween. And that's all I got to say about it.
For me, Yomawari, besides being creepy and beautiful and beautifully scary, besides that, it's one of the few games I've ever played where, while playing it, I could give a shit less about the lore that was being given to me. I was so, like, wound up tight. I was like, oh, fuck that lore. Where's Yui? And let me get the fuck out of here. Like, oh, she's not here. Okay, can I leave? 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 Okay, I can't leave. Like, it didn't give me anxiety. It didn't trigger me or anything weird like that. It was so, you knew it was a short game when you turned it on. But you could also get lost for hours in that little town that was there, just looking for little bits and pieces and trinkets and charms and things like that. But I'm gonna tell you what, once I started getting towards the end of the game, when the boss battles got a little harder, when the rooms got more and more complicated, I was like, fuck looking around. I actually didn't realize that I was missing a good chunk of the map because I said fuck that side of town. When you got to the new town, the nearby town, there was a school over there I never went and discovered. Fuck that school. There was all kinds of little shit around that I was like, nope, that doesn't lead me back to my side of town. I'm not going. Not going. Fuck you.
And if you don't know, I learned this from researching a little bit. That's the town from the first game.
Yeah.
That's the town.
From research a little bit, because this is something I completely missed while playing the game, is that the girl from the first game, what's it called? Alone at Night?
Night Alone.
Night Alone. Yomawari Night Alone. The girl from that game, she does show up as a full-blooded human. You get to talk to her a few times. I think there's like 4 or 5 little cutscenes you can get with her. And eventually she drops you off something called a small flower. I don't really know what it does, but I think she gave it to you for good luck. Again, I didn't get that. I had to find that via research. This game's too scary for me to go find it. I'm not going to go look for it. I'll take their word for it online. Oh, scary Terry, little bit, bitch. Yeah. Besides the way you felt about it, what do you think was going on? Like, why do you think Mr. Yomawari was chasing Yui and Haru? We know why he was chasing Haru, because she wasn't supposed to be outside at night. But why was he chasing Yui?
It's still a small girl spirit, but also maybe, and I am completely shooting a shot in the dark. Maybe, Mr. Yomawari, he might not have been the worst guy in the world, because in the ending he kind of helps you out, and maybe he was trying to save Yui. Maybe he was trying to help her through what she's going through as a spirit. And the oddest thing to me is if malice is a part of Yui's soul and body, maybe he's trying to get that out. And that's just me completely just throwing a dart in the darkness. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe he just saw a young child and wanted to help him out.
It seems like, from what I can tell with Yui, because he pops up and does Yui in a lot. And Yui, every time he kills Yui, she winds up somewhere the fuck else. Like a different part, a different piece, which prompts Haru to go hunt her down at places like the library or at the shrines or the mountaintop, things like that. It seems that if you kept getting killed, but you kept coming back, you'd think one of two things. Either you're a video game character with extra men, or you're already dead. And it seems like maybe he was trying to get that through to her fucking head. And she was too busy being scared and looking for Haru. It didn't even occur to her that, fuck, I'm dead.
The realization, like, everyone who's playing the game is like, yeah, she's dead. Like, she's all the way dead. But when Haru and Yui got together and, like, when the game was like, yeah, you're dead. If I was in Yui's shoes, I'd probably fucking piss my pants. I'd probably have a whole mental breakdown.
Whole ghost beat.
Which she kind of did. She kind of had a mental breakdown like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she had a mental breakdown and almost took it out on Haru.
Almost.
She tried, but Haru was... Fuck what you heard. Haru got that talk no jutsu. So, as we're sitting here joking around, picking on these two little girls' horrible story. Because again, put yourself in their shoes when you were 10 years old. And just a flashlight with some rocks with spirits chasing after you. And I don't think any of us were surviving this. Only a video game character could survive this, I think. It's like, what do you think, like, the point of this game was?
Friendship will never die. That's all I'm going to say. If you have a friend that's going to chase after you when spirits are running after you, Godolphi's already said it, and I'll say it to anybody that's my friend. If there's spirits running after me to find you, yeah, buddy, you're dead.
You on your own.
You better find your own, like, home, because, yeah, I'm not leaving my house to get chopped up in little bitty pieces.
Like, bro, don't come to my door talking about, hey, man, I got spirits chasing after me. Let me in. Oh, hell no, my brother. You got to get your own. Slam right in your face. Friendship. I think you're right. I think you're right that this game is about friendship. But what I think it's even more about is having to let go of certain bonds of friendship. Certain bonds that you have with people. Again, without spoiling, the ending of the game kind of shows you. It kind of shows you how strong Yui and Haru's relationship as friends really is. Besides the fact that she was so in her own world that she didn't even realize she was dead, and that she was hanging around with Yui or Haru and just swore she was alive. No matter how many times she got killed, she was like, oh, my homie Haru. That was what kept her going. You mentioned already that Haru lost an appendage. With that, I believe the loss of that appendage also represents the loss of the friendship. I believe that Haru had to break the actual friendship between her and Yui so Yui could move on to her next place and Haru could move on. Not to say that she doesn't love her or doesn't care about her anymore or, won't remember her, but this has to be broken or we're both going to be stuck like this between Malice and Ghost World, the spirit world. This is the only thing that can stop all of these spirits from coming after us and allow you to rest.
What I'm gonna say is, yeah, I'm good. I like both my arms. I really do. And I'm gonna go back to the same thing. You can be friends with me, but as soon as spirits start running after me to find you, then you're gonna be on your own. Yes, I agree with you that this whole game was how strong a friendship can be between two people, and also how sometimes letting go is the best thing to do. There's not it's not the greatest thing. Very hard. Some people absolutely get devastated by it. But if it's the best thing and it leads to at least one of them having a good life, I believe Haru and Yui made the right choice.
I think so too. At the very end of it all, I think they made the best choice they could make, given the circumstances.
It's still two 10-year-olds fighting absolute monsters.
Oh yeah, I mean, and we keep saying fighting, but like I said before, there's no combat in this game. The only combat is you hauling ass, trying not to have things
very
drop
slowly
on you, trying not to have things. Well, you say running very slowly.
I don't think they're running. I think they're speed walking.
So you get this Power Ranger badge, and that allows you to run faster. And I'm going to tell you what, that shit really does pick up the pace.
How quickly does your heartbeat go away? How quickly does your stamina meter go away?
Oh, the stamina meter drains.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it drains whether you run fast or not. It's the same drain. It's just you got more distance between you and the other thing that you were running from.
That was one of the mechanics that really set it apart, with how it was pretty much your ghost meter, your stamina, and yeah, it was pretty much your ghost meter and stamina. You can either run and lose your stamina, or if your heart is racing, you lose stamina quicker, and you don't have the flashlight on. You can pretty much know anywhere where a spirit is.
At least close. Because like even though they have that hide mechanic, and when you're hiding, they show essentially where the ghosts are at. Like everything's in black, but you see like red orbs,
Yeah.
glowing on the screen that mimic your heartbeat. You can kind of sort of see where they're at from there. But if you don't have that flashlight on, can you really guarantee you saw what you think you saw?
Well, if you never turn your flashlight on, then you don't have to worry about it if you saw what you think you saw.
Well, then you run into shit that you didn't see.
If you never knock on the door, you won't know what's inside. And I'd rather not knock on that door.
She just should have stayed her ass in the house.
But friendship is friendship.
I don't know what possessed Haru to only go out at night.
She had to go to school in the morning.
What about the afternoon or the evening when she gets home? There's still daylight outside.
Maybe she had dinner. She had to do her homework. She can't leave the house for hours on end while her parents are home.
While they're awake?
Well, while they're awake.
Why not just, say, Mom, Dad, we were out in the mountains and Yui disappeared. I think we should go get Yui's mom and dad, and we should probably do some investigations.
Well,
we should probably get the police involved.
Do you ever? Oh, well, Yui's parents really are worried about Yui because her dad's dead and her mom's a drunk and she's starting to neglect. That's the whole reason.
That doesn't mean the town police wouldn't give a shit.
That's the whole reason Yui did the sky dance. She was dancing on air.
It doesn't mean the police wouldn't give a shit about the child.
What are you gonna say? I think there's a spirit around the house.
No, you just tell the police, hey, we were watching the fireworks, we said goodbye, and then she fucking disappeared. I can show you right about where she disappeared at.
We've been talking really well about this game. Godolphy, do you have anything to say negative about this game?
A little bit. Just a little bit. Because this game is essentially isometric 2D-ish, sometimes when you get killed, I think it's utter, complete bullshit. Like, there were times getting killed by some of these monsters that I did not think the monster touched me. I was like, there's no fucking way. There's one that you're running from one side of town to the other. It's a big, giant ball that has these crazy long arms with black claws, and it shoots eyeballs at you. When these eyeballs are fired at you, they come at you as like a fart cloud, and then it goes in front of you, turns into an eyeball, and then the eyeball turns into a set of teeth and starts chasing you.
That's your Pac-Man right there.
And speaking of that Pac-Man shit, this is what I was getting at. You got a game that's kind of puzzly. You have small items to collect that seem insignificant overall, except for like maybe a score, your 100% score. Can't touch the ghosts. If the ghosts touch you, it's game over and you got to start over. The only thing missing is the power-up pellet that allows you to attack the ghost back. It's the only thing missing. And a little bit of Pac-Man vibes.
I don't think I had a negative thought about this game. And I'm not trying to say that to be like I don't have negative thoughts about other things. It's just this game gave me a great experience, great gameplay. Yeah, sometimes the deaths were kind of bullshit, but throughout the whole thing, I would still say this is a great, well-rounded game. And the only thing that's stopping you from playing this game is probably your you being a scaredy cat. That's all really stops you.
Your panties being all balled up too tight.
That's about it. Do you want to talk about the kaiju battle at the end?
Oh. We'll leave that for the kaiju battle at the end. I want to talk about it, but I feel like that's one of those things you need to experience.
Okay.
Because that's where everything in the game comes together. Like all the mechanics that you learned in the game, all the items that you were able to use, everything shows up here. And it's also when Haru finally gets brave. And you say finally gets brave, bitch, you've been brave since episode 1.
But she's finally all that in a bag of hats.
Yeah, like she's not hiding from it. She's not scared. She's not shivering her little face off.
Ready.
She's like, you know what? Fuck it. I got some shit to deal with.
I'm almost 11, bitch.
I got something on my motherfucking chest, and I'm gonna get it off. Of all the creatures on the map, all the little spirits that you get to see, were there any others besides the red guy or the chick falling out of the skyscraper? Was there anybody else that you thought was pretty entertaining to see?
The like the 5-year-old child that would run out with the ball and like had the weird fucking eyes and shit.
Like that mosquito face.
Yeah, mosquito face is kind of funny. And it's weird to call it this, but the booty man.
The booty man.
All this man was like he pretty much like, if you think of any stick figure, he's just like a stick figure with no arms, and he's like running after you, and he's just like, I'm gonna get that booty. I'm gonna get that booty.
That motherfucker is stupid fast too. Like,
oh yeah.
Like when you see Booty Man, you ain't just go put the controller down. Get ready for the next load, because it's so you're not outrunning them. There's no bushes close enough. You can hear. There's a few of those spirits that you can hear around the map, and like you can learn to identify what's coming your way.
Yeah.
But the Booty Man has a real specific breathing pattern. Like if I'm heading down a hallway or an alleyway and I hear that pattern, turn around. I don't give a shit what secret's back there now.
I thought the stupidest one was Truck Coon's flaming tires. Because, like, first of all, you could hear it. Second of all, there's literally tire tracks. And the funny thing is, Gaddafi got killed by one time.
Oh, man. You should have, oh my God. You should have seen when I was finishing the game off. Like, because he shows up more. I think he showed up again at the factory 5-6 times. Same spot, too. Because my ass, I went to go pick up an
tire
item.
tracks, man.
All right. So I saw the item shimmering first, which is one of the things. Items show up on the screen, and you can walk right up on top of them. But if you put your flashlight to them, you get like a little shimmer effect, which shows you where it's at. I saw the shimmer and went, ooh, candy. Got my ass ran over many a times.
Trash.
Oh, yeah. What killed you the most while you were playing?
The bosses.
The bosses, yeah. You and I took a lot of taking turns on some of those bosses.
I want to talk about. I was doing some research. I watched a couple walkthroughs of the game, and the funniest thing is some of the walkthroughs did the same thing we did with the robot Scissor Man.
Yeah.
When we had to pick up the robot arms, I was watching it, and the man said, "Oh, you could go inside the vehicle." But that would have been fucking helpful.
Yeah, that would have been super fucking helpful.
It was just hilarious, like, every time, because, like, me and Gaddafi would just switch off every time we died, and we would just get into the cutscene, get ready for the boss battle, start collecting some of the robot arms and legs, and then die. And then at the very end, when we finally defeated Scissor Man, then we go to there's like 3 cars in the damn junkyard of cars, and it's like, hey, you can come in here. What the fuck?
Like, it was like you, and like, I thought you'd be hiding under the car once I realized you could hide with the car. But no, she just jumps right inside, closes the door, looks right out the window like nothing can see her.
She got a little MP3 player.
Well, it was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna hang out.
Chilling right here.
And like, I actually kind of want to go back and redo that boss fight just so I can see how the car mechanic comes into play. Because without that, I was running like a chicken with my head cut off.
You could run, grab a few arms, hide in the car. Run, grab a few arms, hide in the car. Like, I think that would have been a lot easier than what we did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like, most definitely.
Like, I think a lot of the furniture boss could have been done in the first try. You just need to know the pattern.
Yeah.
That guy, I bet you could probably beat, maybe if you do die the second time, I think you could beat it. If you know about the car and everything.
Right.
You should, like, most of these bosses aren't really, like, extremely hard, but they're a pain in the ass because if you get fucking just, like, touched, you're dead.
Right. It's all about figuring out the pattern and essentially how to get away. Kind of like the ghost on the train. That was a pretty cool little sequence
the
of events.
mosquito-looking bitch that fucking dropped blood and everything.
Yeah.
I like the mechanic that she dropped the blood and it slowed you down.
It slowed you down. She dropped the blood, and then there was the blood all over the screen when she shows up.
Yeah.
So you don't really fully see what's after you. You know something's after you, but you don't fully see it till you get outside of the train. I think that was really cool.
Oh, fuck that. If there's blood on the screen, I'm running.
I thought I was dead. I was like, okay, it's game over. And it was like, I'm used to playing games that there are forced deaths in. Dark Souls always comes to mind, and several JRPGs come into mind where there's like a forced death as part of the story. Like you don't die, but you take a L.
Yeah.
Right. As far as this game, does it remind you of anything else? Anything, another movie, another game, a show that maybe you might be watching? Anything else?
So there is a show. I picked it up and put it down a couple times because it's a comedy, honestly. It's a horror comedy, which is hilarious to me. But there is a show called Mirako-chan.
Mirako-chan.
And you don't want to watch it.
I've never heard of it.
All it is just the very first episode shows that there's spirits in the world and everything. And it kills a girl, which was just on a TV show. But there's a girl named Mirako-chan, and she sees spirits. But it's kind of like, not like Yomawari, where you're kind of running around and everything and you know they're there. It's more red light, green light. If the ghost knows you're there, you're dead. So she pretty much plays Simon Says, or red light, green light, or whatever you want to call it, hide and seek. And if she doesn't fuck around. But like the whole show, I've only got to like 6-ish episodes. And yeah, she's pretty much a beacon for them. But they can't, you can't say that you see them or you're dead. But that's the only one I've actually seen that kind of reminded me. And it was actually funny that we picked this game. And then I was like, oh, I remember that show.
No shit. Had a lot of the same feel to it, huh?
Not in the same sense of spookiness or scariness, because most of it's, for right now, it's like I said, it's more of a horror comedy where like she's in the hijinks of like getting like caught, but there's no death yet.
Okay. So like she's like over animated, running her fucking face off.
There's another girl that can, like, how they explain the show is Mirako-chan can see them very clearly. And then there's another girl that can kind of see some of them. Not all of them, but can kind of see some of the spirits.
She can see like some of the weaker ones, I guess.
Pretty much.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And they're in a gym locker, like a gym, custodial room. And she's like, I know you can see him. I know you can see him. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, those little things on the fucking ground that look like imps. And fucking girls in her mind's like, you can see that, but you can't see the fucking monster behind you.
So they're drooling and shit right behind her.
Oh, fucking like teeth and everything, ready to fucking snatch them down and everything.
Oh my god.
Asking, do you see me? Do you see me?
As if you do. Swiggity swoogity.
Oh no, it's fucking death scene.
Death.
But yeah, like that show just reminded me of the game. But I would rather pick this game than that show. Just gonna say it's my kind of show.
Yep.
Not like that though.
It's a liquid
Not
gold,
like that
it's
though.
a liquid gold experience.
It's more of a comedy, but
It's what you...
it's not desert.
So that show you're talking about, the way you described it, made me think of Odd Thomas. Have you ever heard of that movie?
Is it an anime or is it just
it's a live action human American movie.
No, never heard of Odd Thomas.
So Odd Thomas is about this dude who can see these spiritual creatures called Bodaks. Bodaks don't have eyes. They have a mouth and they have like a body, of course, like a humanish body. They feed on chaos and death. whenever there's about to be chaos or death around, Bodaks are around. And he can see them, but he knows that he can't let them know that he can see them, or they'll cause him to be fucked up. In the movie, he ends up seeing one guy with like hundreds and hundreds of these things swarming around him, and he's trying to pretend he doesn't see them. At certain points, the Bodaks kind of think maybe he can see him, so like they'll end up in his face, dead ass in his face, looking square at him, and it's like, I dare you to pretend like you see me, motherfucker. I dare you. I dare you. I double dog dare you. And that's what that show you just described kind of made me think of, was Odd Thomas.
Same thing with Miroko-chan. It's the same thing. Like they get up in her face, and she has to stay still, maybe for hours.
No shit.
And just wait until they walk off. There's actually one thing that you just reminded me of, having the guy like have all the shit around him. This kind of was more of like a wholesome part. They found a stray kitten in a box.
Okay.
And they couldn't, Miroko-chan and her friend couldn't take it home. So they put a little listing on
Craigslist,
whatever,
Facebook, whatever,
Facebook or whatever.
Okay.
And so it was pretty much teaching you that don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
There was a Yakuza guy with tattoos, skinhead, fucking looked mean as hell, didn't really want to say anything, but he was nervous. He wasn't mean, he was just nervous to talk. And he wanted the kitten. Well, she, Miroko-chan, can see demons and everything. There was another guy that came up, and he had dead spirits of cats around.
Oh.
Like he was killing cats.
Oh. But he seemed normal.
All friendly and everything. He's like, oh, I see this, I saw the listing on Facebook, and I wanted to get the cat.
This is why I'm afraid of suburban neighborhoods.
And she was like, no, you're not getting this cat. And he was like, and he completely, like, his whole face, like, changed.
He was like, man, but I wanted to kill that.
Like, you could see how he went from, like, smiling to kind of, like, meek. Like, didn't really have, like, emotions to him. And was like, okay. And then walked away. And she passed it to the Yakuza guy. And he was, and the coolest thing was you could see spirits around him, but they were more like heavenly spirits of cats. Like, he's had cats in his life, and he's had really good fucking, like, it was really nice.
Like he was a good pet owner.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then there was one more, and I'll be done. This is the funniest shit. She was at a Starbucks, or a Starducks, or whatever you want. It was Starbucks.
Yeah.
And she was waiting for her friend, and she accidentally smiled at a guy. And he had a spirit of a woman around him because he was a player. She died, and she's been following her ex-boyfriend. She had a vagina face. That's all I can say.
Vagina face?
It was just like her, like from nose down was just teeth, like a row of teeth.
Oh.
And she was like trying, like, if you're fucking with my boyfriend, I'm gonna kill you. So she thought she was fucking with, like, she saw the dude staring at the main character, and she went over to fuck with her. Girl walks away, and he tries to talk to her when they're leaving. And she's like, nah, I don't want no fun to do with you. Started running out with the fucking friend, and his date comes by, and there's like 8 dudes. 8 spirits around her.
Whoa.
And they're like, and she said, you're perfect for each other.
Wow.
I don't know. To me, it was so.
One of them's going to kill the other, or they're going to become.
I don't know. It's just, I don't know if it's just like I feel like they more kind of gave you the nudge and didn't explain, like, she made them kill themselves because she didn't love them. And that's what I kind of feel like the spirits were around her for, was that she fucking had so many boyfriends that she. But yeah, I thought the Star Fucks was funny, and the dude that wanted the cat was funny.
That's pretty. Wow. You sure I wouldn't like that show?
I'll explain more after the show.
Fair enough. That sounds disappointing, Steve.
It's not High School of the Dead, I promise that.
So, this Yomawari reminded me of an old childhood game that scared the absolute piss out of me when I was a kid. Everybody knows that scary moment in Resident Evil when you go up the stairs and turn right up the mansion. That first time you see that live action zombie scene.
Oh yeah.
Everybody knows. Like back in the day when graphics were hardly graphics, that was some scary shit.
I thought you were gonna be talking about the dog that jumps in the window.
So no, that made you jump, but it wasn't like how that zombie
was. It wasn't purely terrifying.
Right. So another game I played around that same time for PlayStation 1 was called Clock Tower.
Oh my god.
This game gave me all the Clock Tower vibes. I'm going to just run down this real quick. You can't fight back. There's one main enemy coming after you. He's super creepy and spiritual. Seems like he just pops up out of thin air on your ass. It's a dude in a cloak with a pair of gardening shears about 6-7 foot long. All you can really do with this guy is hide from him. And the stage I always remember is a library and a mansion. I always remember those two stages out of that game. Just so happens, in Yomawari, there's a part with a library
and a mansion.
And a part with a mansion. Where all you can really do is hide from ghosts and try your best not to get killed. There are several differences between the two games, but those are the vibes that Yomawari was giving me. One of the reasons why I actually kept playing it was, for me, it was kind of like going back and playing Clock Tower and going, I ain't scared of you no more, pussy. I'm scared of Yomawari now.
I'm scared.
Also, with Yomawari, one last thing of what reminds me of Yomawari, I don't really watch a lot of horror movies in general. I'm not a big fan of gory movies either. It's not really a big fan. Like, you could do better than that. So, when I was younger, I experimented watching Spanish, French, and Japanese horror movies. That all stopped after I saw The Grudge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, after I saw The Grudge, that all, like, for the most part, I don't watch scary movies no more since I saw The Ring. No, The Ring was funny to me. Like, really? I laughed my ass off at The Ring. Well, all right, check me out. With The Ring, don't watch the tape, dumbass. And be done. Like, if somebody comes up to you with some, like, hey, if you do this, you'll die. Well, just don't do that.
But what, okay.
Just don't fucking do that. Ever.
Okay, I gotta bring up something. In the ring, like, universe, what if, like, someone, like, dubbed over, like, another tape, and you rent it, and it comes out? You know what I mean? Like,
that's one thing. But in The Ring, what was going on was assholes were passing this tape back and forth. Ring wasn't really that big of a deal for me. Again, The Grudge, bro, it wasn't no getting away. Like, all you had to do was step in the fence line of that fucking mansion, and your ass is cursed. And there's no getting away. I remember the scene where old girl went to hide in her own bed, ran in her fucking house, locked the door, and went to the safest spot she knows she can be, in her fucking bed under the covers, like a child. And that damn ghost snatched her ass. Oh, that shit still creeps me the fuck out to this day.
There's actually a movie that has both The Ring and The Grudge, like a tag, or
it's like a versus movie.
The title bell.
No shit.
And I think The Ring. I think I think The Grudge wins.
I think The Grudge would win. I think The Grudge would, because like The Grudge's ordeal, that was horrifying. Her with the broken neck, and then like the child coming after you with the cat noises because dad drowned the cat and the child at the same time. Why'd he drown the cat?
Because he felt like it.
He's like, fuck you, you're dying too. I mean, I know why he broke his wife's neck, but like,
if I'm killing you, I'm killing the cat too.
Everybody's gotta go.
The only thing that really scared me as a child, honestly, was the hand from Adam's Family.
Really? Thing?
Okay. Let's explain this story.
Yeah, tell me about it.
All right. I'm like 6 years old. It's like 9:30 at night, and I think I had a nightmare that night, or my dad was fucking with me. So I slept in my old house. There's a window right beside my bed, and we just finished watching Addams Family. I can remember it vividly. It's hilarious how vivid I can remember this. And finished watching the Addams Family. It's like 9:30 at night. It's time to go to bed because I'm 6 or 7 years old. Tuck into my bed, and all of a sudden, like 12 o'clock in the morning, I see a hand on my fucking window just tapping, like fucking embodied hand, like no disembodied hand, and fucking I'm screaming for my dad and mom, screaming, and I don't know if I woke up from a nightmare or my father just came into the house. I don't know. But yeah, that's I'm not saying that the Addams Family hand is now scary to me now.
But just a disembodied hand.
Just fucking
tapping. I mean, that could be, yeah, I feel you there. I'll even share one with you too before we get out of here. We're getting ready to wrap this up before I get scared tonight. I've always had a problem with Freddy Krueger.
Oh man, I love Freddy Krueger.
I've always had a problem with Freddy Krueger. Remember, I was born in the 80s. 88 baby. I remember going into the Hollywood Video and the Blockbusters and the video stores, whatever you want to call it, whatever ones they were then. I remember going in National Home Video. I remember going in there, and they used to have the posters or like the big cutouts of the movies that were upcoming. You know, you'd have your Arnold movies, you'd have your Rocky movies, you know, you'd have little action movies, maybe a little bit of a scary movie over here. You'd have your romance shit. There was almost always a cutout in the video stores of whatever movies.
Yeah.
Even Leprechaun didn't bother. One time I walked in that damn Blockbuster or whatever, and it was a Freddy fucking poster or a Freddy cutout right there. I think that was my first time ever seeing Freddy Krueger. We'll fast forward to me being in the first grade and me walking in the house in the middle of the afternoon. It's probably like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I walk in the house, my mom and my stepdad are watching something on the TV. And I stop, and mom goes, "You don't want to watch this. Get the fuck out of here." And I look over at the TV screen. It's like, what could be so bad about it? And there's like 50 Freddy Kruegers on a highway, walking on a highway. I later learned that that was Wes Craven's New Nightmare. That night, that's all I saw was that one visual of like 50 Freddy Kruegers. That night, I went to bed, scared as shit. Terrified. I was like, you're never going to sleep tonight. There's 50 fucking Freddy. I thought there was just one Freddy Krueger. There's 50 of them out there. Like, this is bad. This is real bad.
Oh.
On top of that, I didn't know that Freddy Krueger's thing was to fuck with you in your dreams. I had no idea. I didn't know shit about. I just saw a burnt up man with some terrifying gloves on and that hat and that ugly ass sweater. Like, that dude was so fucking scary. That night, I think I dozed off for like 3 minutes. It could have been an hour, could have been 2 hours, could have been 15 seconds for a while, but I know I dozed off. And when I came back, opened my eyes, I was like, open your eyes, because if you go to sleep, Freddy's going to get you. Opened up my eyes, and I looked right at my door. At my door, I saw what appeared to be something fucking move. I was not brave. Not this night. I screamed, jumped out of bed to try to get to my light switch, because I knew if I got to my light switch, the monsters would disappear. That's the rules, right?
Yeah.
I kept missing the fucking light switch. I mean, bro, I almost pissed myself, literally. Like, you know that I got a pee dance? I was doing that shit, trying to cut my light switch on. Missing it. Eventually, I just grabbed the door handle, fucking flung it open, ran down the hall screaming like there was something after me. Ah! Mom! Dad! Mom! And I go to grab their doorknob because I don't know where any of the switches are at in the hallway for some reason all of a sudden. Like, I've never lived here before. Just can't find switches on the walls and shit for the hallway. So I grab on their door and I'm screaming. Their door is fucking locked. If I was any bigger, if I may have been in the second grade, I'd have punched that fucking door down. Like, the way I was knocking and kicking, I'd have punched that fucking door off the hinges. Like, I was like, hey, ah! And I'm looking down the hallway and I can't really see. Just Blackness. Just blackness. And I'm just like, ah! They grab me and like they open the door up and my mom is sitting there with this big ass smile on her face. Like, I'll never forget the smile. Because like immediately I felt stupid. I immediately was like, there's no monsters. This is why mom's laughing at me. She knows I'm scared of the Freddy Krueger. And fuck it, I'm too scared to go back to my bed. I think that was the last time I ever slept with, like, you know, you're a kid, you sleep with your mom. I think that was the last time I ever did. It was like, I was too embarrassed to be scared like that ever again. The next year, in the second grade, because I was so embarrassed about being scared like that, I also knew that monsters came from under your bed. I spent the most part of my second grade year sleeping under my bed. I'd take my pillow and my blanket down there and I'd sleep under the bed. The idea was, is I can get you before you get me, motherfucker. Deadly
that is
serious.
Fucking hilarious. That is hilarious.
My mom came to my room one night one morning looking for me, it's like a weekend or something. I remember my mom screaming my name like she was screaming like I was screaming that day for Freddy Krueger. Like where are you at? Where are you at? Where? And I come from up on her. What the fuck are you doing out there? I was like, gotta get the monsters first. What the fuck? Don't do that anymore. And I was like, I'm sure I made my point. They won't be coming back anytime soon. Long story short, they never did. This has been the Fighting Couch Potatoes. I've been Gaddafi Crush.
And I'm Liquid Gold Steve.
Thank y'all so much for your support. I hope you guys have a wonderful Halloween. Kick ass, get all the candy. Don't forget, when you finish with all your candy, come back and check out the Fighting Couch Potatoes. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, TikTok, Apple Podcast. Really, anywhere you can find us at, find the Fighting Couch Potatoes. You'll have a spooky night.
Don't get too scared.